everyone, welcome to an algebra video tutorial learning about how to do polynomial long division and actually do some division with polynomials. So here we've got a 4-term polynomial, 4x to the 4th plus 8x squared minus x plus 7, and I'm going to divide all that by x plus 2, this little binomial over here. So let's set up my long division. Let's get my division symbol up. We're going to write our dividend in here. So we got 4x to the 4th. Now notice when we look at this, we got x to the 4th, but then it jumps right down to x squared. When I'm setting it up to do long division, I need to make sure my terms are in descending order and each term is accounted for. So 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. But I don't have an x to the 3rd, so I actually got to put a placeholder. So I'm going to put a plus 0. There's no x to the 3rds. But this is going to help me do my polynomial long division and make it actually progress. If I don't have this placeholder, I'm going to get in trouble. All right, so I got 0x to the 3rd. That's a placeholder. Then I can go right back down to the 8x squared minus x plus 7 on the end there. And let's extend my division symbol out. Now my divisor is this x plus 2. So put that in the front right there. That's what's dividing into the dividend there. All right, so it's based off the first term. So I'm looking at the x and I'm looking at the 4x to the 4th. And I need to pick some term up here that when I multiply it by this x term, it's going to equal 4x to the 4th. So I definitely got to have a 4 to get this 4 here, 4 times x. But then I need an x to the 3rd because x to the 3rd times this 1x right here is going to give me 4x to the 4th. So there you go. Now we distribute over. 4x to the 3rd times x gives me 4x to the 4th. That's good because I want these to subtract to 0 and slowly divide out my thing 2 terms at a time. I can only do 2 terms at a time because I've only got a binomial that I'm dividing into. All right, so now 4x to the 3rd also has to multiply the 2. So 4 times 2 is going to be 8. And there's my x to the 3rd. All right, now let's subtract things out. 4x to the 4th minus 4x to the 4th, that's going to turn into 0. And 0x to the 3rd minus 8x to the 3rd is going to be negative 8x to the 3rd. All right, we've just done one rotation through all this. I've focused on these two. We took care of the x to the 4th terms. Now I'm going to focus on the x to the 3rd term and drop down this one. I got to deal with 2 at a time. So I got plus 8x squared. All right, now let's figure out what we got. I'm going to focus on this x. I'm going to focus on the first term of this new binomial, or this couple terms that I'm working with. What do I need to have here that's going to multiply by x to turn into negative 8x to the 3rd? Well, I need a negative 8 for sure, and I need an x squared. Negative 8x squared times x is going to give me the negative 8x to the 3rd. But I got to distribute it to the 2 as well. So negative 8x squared times 2 is going to be negative 16x squared. All right, now let's subtract these out. Negative x cubed minus negative 8x cubed turns to 0. 8x squared minus negative 16x squared, that's going to turn into 8x plus, by the time I do my 2 negatives, 8x squared plus 16x is going to turn into positive 24x squared. There's 2 cycles done. Now let's drop it down my negative x. And let me switch colors here. Let's do just brown. All right, focus on my first 2 terms. I need that x, and I need to get this 24x squared. So what do I need to multiply by? I'm going to multiply by a positive 24. times x, and I also need one more x. X times x gives me that x squared. So 24x times this x gives me 24x squared. 24x times the 2 now is going to give me positive 48x. Subtract these out. 24x squared minus 24x turns to 0. But negative x minus 48x is going to give me negative 49x. All right, I'm almost done. I'm almost there, right? I got to just drop down this plus 7. That's my last term in the polynomial to do any division with. So now I got plus 7 on the end. And what do I need here? I need to multiply something by x to turn it into negative 49x. Well, I got to multiply it by negative 49. So negative 49 times x is negative 49x. And negative 49 times 2 is going to be negative 98. I'm going to subtract these together. Negative 49x minus negative 49x gives me 0. 7 minus negative 98 turns into 7 plus, with the 2 negatives, 7 plus 98, which is 105. All right, I'm done because I don't have any more terms to drop down. So what does this 105 mean? Well, we have a remainder. There's some leftovers that I can't divide anymore. I divided as far as I could by this x plus 2, but this does not divide evenly. I'm left with this remainder. In fact, my answer now is if I take 4x to the 4th plus 8x squared minus x plus 7, if I divide it by x plus 2, the answer is I get a result of 4x to the 3rd. I'm just reading my quotient up top here. 4x to the 3rd minus 8x squared plus 24x minus 49, and a remainder, well, I can put r, but I'm just going to put plus this part at the end, 105 divided by x plus 2, the divisor, the part that I was dividing by. So you can see here we got some nice terms, but it didn't end up with a nice clean term at the end. We have this remainder part that I have to account for. We're dividing by the x plus 2, so I take my remainder of 105 and it's divided by x plus 2, and I have this kind of polynomial fraction part left over there. But it's still a valid result. If I take these two polynomials and divide them, I can see that I can divide them to a point, but they do not divide evenly. I have this remainder left. All right, hopefully that's helpful for you. I can still multiply this through. I can take x plus 2 and multiply all this and get right back to what I started with. Hopefully this is helpful for you to work out polynomial long division, and I hope each kind of cycle, if you will, made sense as we picked what numbers we needed here to keep getting zeros and zeros and zeros and slowly divide this x plus 2 fully into our original polynomial.